What up, Zach?
Yo.
You ready for another fun night of recording podcasts?
I am always ready. Beep, boop, beep, boop.
Yeah, it's been about a week, I guess, since we recorded the our comeback episode. Don't call it a comeback, but that's what it was.
Yeah, it's been about a week. Think about it.
Yeah. I think between the two of us, other than the movie that we watched, which was Good Will Hunting, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, I think both of us, we went through quite a few other films between the two of us. So
yeah, I definitely did.
Well,
at least two specifically I wanted to talk about, but we'll get to it.
Yeah, I have one that I would like to talk about, but anyway, let's do our usual catch up with bullshit. How's your week been? What you been up to?
More working. Fucking the rug store has been moving locations.
Huh.
And it is just
That's interesting.
Me. It's not. Thank you for being nice and saying so, but it's not interesting.
Doesn't necessarily mean that I meant it. It's just more of a formality. But
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're moving to a different store because the company doesn't want to pay rent at the location we're at anymore. So we're moving to what used to be a Napa Auto Parts store because they own that building for some reason. Because you want your rugs to smell like motor oil? I know you do.
I like the idea when you said they don't want to pay rent there anymore, that they were just going to move into the owner's house and start selling rugs from there.
It's about as that's just a stupid idea as moving into the building we're going into. But yeah, it's been just me and one other dude packing up that entire store by ourselves for the past, well, every week this year. So,
well, that sounds riveting.
Yeah, about three or so weeks. So, yeah, it's tiring. But I have gotten a whole lot of audiobook and podcasts and listening to and taking frequent breaks, of course, because it's just us there. The boss man's not there, so I've gone through a lot of manga.
Yep. You have a oh yeah, I guess I could talk about my One Piece thing too. But yeah, you're moving a whole story. You have union mandated breaks every 10 minutes that last 20 minutes.
Yes, so. Minus the union because the company doesn't allow unions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also the South. That will be squashed immediately.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, work isn't really that different for me. It's the same stuff, you know. Listening to my books. I went through, I finished Joe King's short story collection a few days ago. And that was, I think I actually finished that before the last recording. We may have talked about it.
I know you talked about it because we had.
Yeah, that was really good. There are a couple stories on there that I'm going to forward to you if I can find them online. One of them was called All I Care About Is You, and that was really good. That one I know it's on SoundCloud because I had Mari listen to it. But I'm going through Everything's Eventual again, just because I wanted another short story collection, and I really like that one. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, nothing really new in terms of podcasts and all that. But movies, there have been a lot of movies.
Yeah, I've been in this big movie mood lately. Like, just all year, because she's just been getting them from the library. I'm like, hey, can you get this one? Yeah, I'm going to go, okay. So, it's been a whole lot of free movies from the library, so.
Which is what everybody should be doing.
Yeah, fucking, hey man, if it's not on streaming, fucking library.
Yeah, we got a bunch of new stuff in the other day, and since I work in processing now, you know, I hope nobody ever listens to this, because I just watched it. You know, I watched Lighthouse. That was the one I wanted to.
Yeah, we have that on hold. We wanted to see that one.
It is so fucking weird and so good.
Is it based on the thing that the lore podcast, the Ropes and Ladders? Because I know is it?
No, it's not.
I always wondered if that was because, I mean, like, I guess that's a story that he dug up and made a podcast about, but I always wondered if the Lighthouse was based on that story or something.
No, this is just its own story.
Okay.
But, hold on, I'm trying to find the name of that specific, not the lore episode, because it is Rope and Ladder, but the name of the lighthouse. Let's see. Oh, the Flannan Isles Lighthouse. That is the name of that story. Great episode. Probably my favorite episode of lore. I love anything to do with lighthouses, and that was on point.
It's spooky.
But yeah, the movie itself is just, I've really enjoyed watching like Robert Pattinson kind of evolve as an actor over time.
Yeah.
Because
finally, he's breaking away from Sparkle Vampire. So
oh, dude, you know what?
He's finally it sounds like he's like, I don't know. He's coming in. I don't know how to describe it. I guess it's just like he's not the Sparkle Vampire dude anymore, and that's nice.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say this: that has long been dead. The minute he did Cosmopolis, I pretty much considered.
I don't know what that is.
Twilight can fuck off at this point. He has done more than enough movies to kind of move out of that sort of niche, and it's good because I do think he's a really good actor. He just, I don't know what he did before Twilight, but I mean, dude, he made his bank. I'm not going to knock someone for making money. Oh, fucking Cedric Diggory. What are we talking about? Yeah, Harry Potter. But, I mean, well, to be fair, that role didn't last that long.
He's gonna be Bruce Wayne?
Yes, he will be Bruce Wayne. Mr. Wayne. But, yeah, I really enjoy watching him come up. He did a movie called High Life that I really want to see.
It's on Amazon Prime. I keep meaning to sit down and watch it.
Well, maybe we'll both watch that and talk about it. But Lighthouse was phenomenal. Willem Dafoe, as always, is just a masterwork. And goddamn, this movie is so weird and so good. I need to watch Robert Eggers' other movie that he's really well known for these days, called The Witch. I've owned a digital copy of that for years and never watched it, so maybe I'll get around to that before the next recording. But yeah, Lighthouse, damn solid horror flick.
Cool.
And not like spooky horror, which is my favorite type of horror these days, is horror that really gets under your skin and gets into your head, and this definitely does that. So I think you'll dig it.
Cool.
But yeah, what did you watch?
I watched, I wanted to talk about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but that's going to be like a duel. That's going to be both of us are going to probably, because I think we both have lots to say about that. But I just bought the movie in 4K, so yeah, we can definitely talk about that. But besides that, I think I sent you and Mari a message about it. Have you guys ever heard of, other than me mentioning it, Bad Times at the El Royale?
Yeah. We wanted to see that when it first came out, and it slipped under our radar. Like, I was really excited for it because it looks super unique. And to be fair, I mean, it's still on my radar. We just never watched it.
It's a good movie. You guys should watch it. I think you'll both dig it. It is a little bit reminiscent of it's got a little bit of a dollop of Tarantino. It felt like in there.
That's kind of what I got from the trailer.
But I always get Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans, like the two, confused because of the name.
Chris Evans is Captain America. Chris Hemsworth is Thor.
Yeah. Okay. Hemsworth, Thor. He's in that movie, and he plays the villain. And holy shit, I've never seen that man be a villain before. I
hope he didn't just ruin the movie for me.
No, you didn't. You knew he's in the movie, so, but no, he is so fucking good. That movie is great. I liked it a lot.
I know that John Hamm is in it, and I love that man to death. He can do almost no wrong in anything he's in for me, so I hope he's good in this.
Everyone was good in that movie. What's his name?
John Hamm, because I know you're probably thinking in your head, who the hell is John Hamm? He's the main guy from Mad Men.
Yeah.
He's also the psycho cult leader in Kimmy Schmidt.
Isn't John Hamm also doing something with Batman? Batham?
Think so. I'm not 100% sure. I think so. I know there were rumors for a while that he might play Bruce Wayne, which I think would be an interesting cast, but I don't know.
I can see him as Bruce Wayne. I think he'd make a better Bruce Wayne than what's his name?
Just because I can make this parallel right now, because we just got done talking about Lighthouse, apparently both him and Willem Dafoe, massive penises. So there you go.
Hooray.
Yeah, there you go. Learning things. So yeah, Bad Times at the El Royale.
It was super good. I think you guys will enjoy it. Definitely, if it kind of pops in the library or whatever. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, but fuck, you could probably...
I already know that we own it at the library.
Okay, yeah, it's worth your time.
Comically enough, we have closed off our entire media section for the week so that the library can get ready for a donor party.
Oh.
Right?
Ooh. But
that doesn't change the fact that I still have access to the media department and can go in and take whatever I want. So, haha. Let us do what is it, Mandark from
Dexter.
But you wanted to talk about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yeah, because
was that the other movie?
Yeah, that was the only other movie other than Watchmen, because I fucking finally finished Watchmen, so we can talk about it.
You finished the movie?
No, other than Watchmen.
Yeah, the TV show.
Yeah, I know. That was the show I wanted to talk about, but
I thought you already finished it because you got on us for not finishing it.
You finished it, so I can finally talk about it with you.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I mean, I finished it before last recording, and then Discord fucked up, and I happened to mention it while.
Oh, yeah, I never heard that. Okay, but yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
We'll get to Watchmen a little because that's going to be a bit to unpack.
Yeah.
I think that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood might be my favorite Tarantino film. I love Pulp Fiction to death. Mm-hmm. I've watched that movie more times than I can count. I love Reservoir Dogs. I love Django Unchained. Mm-hmm. I love pretty much everything that man has ever put out. But there's something about this movie that just clicked for me. Like everything worked. The music, the characters, the writing. I really like that it's an alternate history sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm a sucker for like alternate history shit. Just something about this really clicked for me. And
was it the Dirty Feet?
It wasn't Dirty Feet, but I can tell you that actress is hot as shit.
Oh, Margot Robbie?
Not Margot Robbie. That's not her.
Well, she had the dirty feet. The other one...
They both had dirty ass feet.
Margot Robbie pushed her feet up against the glass. Did that do anything for you?
It did not. I can safely... ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this podcast, I can safely assume, I'm going to speak for Zach, that neither of us have a foot fetish. But if you do, more power to you. That's your thing. You do it. You go live. You live your best life.
You embrace that. You slurp them toes.
But that did not do anything for me. But now the movie, I really love this movie. It works so well. We saw it twice in theaters. We saw it once right after Otakon because it came out like Otakon weekend. And I remember the entire time I was like, motherfucker, I got to work this convention. When I want to go see it, we tried to find a way to see it while the convention was happening. But we saw it right after. And then I think we saw it again in October when it re-released with her brother because he hadn't seen it. So, and then like I said, I just bought it. It actually came in yesterday. Little bit of info for people that are interested. Amazon is currently running a deal where you can get 2 UHD 4K movies for $30. And you can also, they were doing a buy 2 get 1 sale on some of their movies and video games. So I picked up Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, 2001: A Space Odyssey,
good,
the Predator 4K collection, which includes Predator 1, 2, and Predators.
Nice. Thank God.
What else did I...
Oh, good. It doesn't have fucking The Predator. Fucking trash film.
We are not going to talk about that piece of shit. I picked up Blade Runner 2049, and There Will Be Blood, which is another movie we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I watched that too. I forgot to put that on the list. Cool.
I know. I've been super excited to talk about that because There Will Be Blood is probably my top 3 favorite films of all time. But anyway, I picked up all of those on 4K, except for There Will Be Blood because that never got a 4K release, which is a fucking crime.
I need to look at this sale if it's still going on. I might find some stuff.
Do you have a 4K player?
Shit, you know what? I sure don't.
You're going to get a PS5?
Likely.
Then you'll have a 4K player.
Well, then there you go.
But anyway, that's enough of me talking about Amazon sales. Even though I do want to talk about some of the movies I got. But yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Fucking loved it. And, yeah, what did you... There's one part in the movie... Well, there's a bunch I want to talk about with it, but what did you think of it?
I thought it was, like, pretty alright. Like, out of 10, good solid 7.
I'd put it at about an 8.5. Maybe a 9. Maybe. That's high.
Like, everyone did their thing great. It was all shot great, writing. But, like, it didn't feel like the movie was really about anything. If that makes sense.
I think that the movie was supposed to just be a snapshot of these two different, I don't want to say two different people, that's not what I'm trying to say. Like, it's basically taking Clint Booth and what was Leonardo DiCaprio's character's name? I'm like blanking on it. No, Cliff Booth was his stuntman. Fuck,
I thought I'm getting the names confused then. Good old Leo.
That's right. Yeah, so it's basically taking Leonardo DiCaprio's character. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. It pisses me off. His character and Brad Pitt and like their lives, because they're basically intertwined. I like how they have a bromance going through this whole movie.
Yeah, like it seemed to be essential. Like mostly, it seemed to be about their lives and what they do when they're not with each other. Rick Dalton.
Rick Dalton. There you go. Thank you.
It seemed to be like mostly about what they like. Their lives when they're not when he's not driving him around or not drinking together or whatever.
It is.
And then it maybe every once in a while it'd have who did Margot Robbie play?
Sharon Tate.
Yeah, Sharon Tate. Like Margot Robbie was in it, but like it was just kind of wasted because she didn't do anything.
It wasn't, and I'm going to explain why, because it plays into the history part of this. First of all, do you know who Sharon Tate is?
I mean, vaguely. Like, I know of the Charles Manson murders. I'm not I've never, researched it or anything, but I'm aware that they happened.
Well, I mean, you hit the nail on the head right there. It's the Sharon Tate murders with Charles Manson. He sent these kids out to go and kill her while she was pregnant. It was a huge thing. But what this movie did is he took Rick Dalton and Cliff Booth. He took these characters and like you spend so much time with them in the beginning, and he like slowly works their story into the mix of this Charles Manson one, because you couldn't do it immediately. I think if he started off with like Charles Manson and then you see these other characters and there's a back and forth, it would be a little too jarring. I think what he did with this movie, like one of my favorite things about it, is the genius of starting you off with two characters that are not real people. Like it's stuff that he's made, and it's almost like you're melting chocolate. Like when you melt chocolate, you can't just throw it right over the heat. You gotta like low heat and work it up until it melts. That's kind of what he did with these characters, where slowly over time he's melting them into the storyline of the Sharon Tate murders and Charles Manson. And then the genius of it, and this is where we're going to get into spoilers, is that ending where he just completely twists it, and it's not what you would expect. And that I really liked, because I was really interested in Rick Dalton as a character, because like fucking Leonardo DiCaprio just sold that role for me. I loved it so much. Like both of these characters were developed so well to a point that when they're mixed into this historical storyline, that it felt natural. And that's what I really liked about this. So, I mean, I definitely understand that it might not be your cup of tea. I know a lot of Tarantino fans that felt that way about this.
I didn't dislike it at all. I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it. I really liked it. It's just, it didn't really like blow my hair back or anything, but I did like the movie.
You had to love flamethrowers in the pool, though.
Fucking Brad Pitt was fucking awesome. Like every scene he was in, he just eclipsed it all for me. Like
I can safely say that I think this might have the most satisfying scene of violence for me that I've seen since Old Boy, with the hallway shot, where like, because we saw it in theaters, and the theater was pretty full for the most part, but that scene at the end with the redhead, when he just fucking Gears of Peter Weller's the shit out of her on the side of the fireplace. I was watching this and I'm just like slow clapping. Like this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And I'm almost certain that people that are sane are around me and like looking at me going, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? It was so satisfying. And before we forget, can we please give a nod to the greatest character in the movie, Brandy the Pitbull?
Yep.
the goodest girl.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I fucking love this movie, and I haven't popped it in the player yet, so I don't know what the 4K looks like for it, but I know he shot it in 70 millimeters, so it's an actual 4K composite, not an upscale.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm super excited to see what this looks like.
Cool.
But yeah, just so I can nerd out on the movies I got, 2001: A Space Odyssey looks so fucking amazing. Like, because it was obviously shot on film, so it's a natural like my copy of The Shining. It's a full restoration from the original film. It's not a digital upscale, so that was really pretty. Blade Runner looks fucking amazing because that was shot on film. And I think 2049 was too. I think Denis Villeneuve shot that on film, and then parts of it were done with IMAX. So, but anyway, I'm just film nerding out now.
I saw No Country for Old Men.
I hate that movie.
I mean, not Old Country for Men. Fuck. There Will Be Blood.
There Will Be Blood.
I'm getting
So
my fucking westerns.
So yeah, in the event that anyone else listens to this podcast and hears me say that I hate No Country for Old Men and goes, "What the hell's wrong with you?" It's considered one of the greatest films of all time. The movie was boring. I don't care how good the acting is.
I saw it once years ago. I just don't remember it very well.
Bored the ever-living hell out of me, and that's all I'm going to say about that movie.
No.
But
There Will Be Blood. There Will Be Blood.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about There Will Be Blood.
I'm an oil man.
So, you go first. I talked a lot about Once Upon a Time. Let's see what you got to say about this.
Now, I really like this one. I guess if the last one was a 7, this one was like a big hefty hearty 9, probably like 9.5. Like, I really really liked There Will Be Blood.
Okay.
Fucking what's his name who played the lead? Because I'm really bad at actor names.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis was fucking, every time he said anything, it was just like, it was the best. That fucking,
I've abandoned my boy.
I've abandoned
my boy.
We have 2 milkshakes. You have a milkshake.
And I have a straw.
I have it, and we have a straw. I go over here and I drink my milkshake, and then I put my straw over to your milkshake, and I drink your milkshake.
You got to do it right. He goes all the way across the hall, then I go all the way over here.
Like, holy shit! It was the fucking best. He fucking ate it.
It is very
he chewed it up.
easy. It's very easy to praise Daniel Day-Lewis because that man.
I mean, everyone
is
did
on a level
fucking
of
great.
Yeah, but seriously, like I said when you messaged me,
mm-hmm.
Paul Dano got it. That man did so good. Paul Dano played the preacher.
Yeah. Dude, when he just fucking hauls and just smacks the shit out of him, and I was just fucking laughing so hard.
Dude, that bowling ball scene at the end.
Oh, the bowling ball scene was fucking. But like, you know, midway through the movie, like, he just backhands him. It's fucking. And the guy's just like squealing. And you want it to happen because this like preacher character is just like fucking obnoxious. You want it to happen. Maybe you have some problems with Christianity like I do. I don't know. I don't speak for you. But like, I'm just sitting there. Yay. I fucking love that movie.
I saw this movie way back when it was on Netflix for the first time. This was years ago, I think. And I watched it on a whim because the cover looked interesting. And it's one of those times where there are a handful of movies in my life that I've just watched on a whim, and they have like changed the way I view certain things. And this is definitely one of them. Like, I was glued to the screen the entire time because the very beginning of the film is one of the best examples I've ever seen of dialogueless film.
Yeah, there's a lot of quiet moments in that. Well, like quiet, like dialogueless moments in that movie where it just lets the scene or like the story unfold, and you don't need words to push it forward. It's just shot in a way that just gives you everything you need.
This movie is one of the it does such great work with letting the scene and letting the landscape tell the story. Like, the very beginning of that movie, when it just zooms in on him and, like, you see where he is, that tells you right there what kind of man this guy is, like, what he's doing to survive. And it's just I don't want to say the soundtrack, it's almost like the sound effects in this movie work so well that, like, throughout the movie, when you can tell that something's wrong with Daniel Day-Lewis's character, when they have that sort of like THX sound where it just increases and you know something's about to happen. But yeah, god damn, I love this movie so much. Everyone in it, every single actor and actress in this movie, just spot on, perfect. Even the extras, like the people that were yelling, like in the church and stuff, just everyone sold this movie. And it's easily one of my favorites. It's up there with Shawshank for me.
Yeah.
So
it's an excellent movie. I really liked it. I'm glad I finally sat down and watched it.
Like I told you in the chat, I would highly recommend that you also watch some of Daniel Day-Lewis's other stuff.
Yeah.
Lincoln is phenomenal, and I think it might still be available on Netflix or Prime. But if you want to watch something that it's not as intense as There Will Be Blood, but the acting is just as great. The story's a little hard to keep track of sometimes. Phantom Thread, I really enjoyed. He plays a clothing designer in that who has serious mommy issues.
Oh no.
And it's just, it's really good acting. It almost feels like a horror movie at points, but it's not. It's just a drama. And I think Misty might dig it. So you might want to look into that one.
Okay.
But anyway, moving off of movies, because we've been talking about this shit for almost a half hour now. And we still haven't even talked about the Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
So you've been playing Control. You want to tell me about that?
Yeah, I got a good chunk of it. Today was like the first day I've actually had time to sit down and really fucking play it for more than maybe like an hour at a time. I'm really liking it.
I platinumed it a few days ago.
I saw that.
Yeah. I fucking love this game.
And like,
if it had a new game plus, I'd be playing it right now, but it doesn't, so I'm playing Ace Combat 7.
Are you enjoying that?
Yeah, it's Ace Combat.
Well, of course you're enjoying it. I played a little bit of that when I enjoyed it. But yeah, Control. I said it before, like, it reminds me of a few different like books, series, and shows that I've watched. One is a show, and I think I've told you about it before. Did I ever tell you about the Lost Room?
No.
It came out about 2006. The Lost Room is about this hotel room, if that sounds familiar, that exists out of space and time, if that sounds familiar. But all the items that are in this hotel room, if you go in there, right, and you take out one of the things in this hotel room, like a fucking pocket watch or whatever. When it's outside in the real world, it's an item of power. So, and it just I think the pocket watch they all do random shit, but the pocket watch, like, can hard boil an egg if you put an egg, like, inside the band. The fucking pen will every time you tap it on the table, it makes a penny. And it's like shit like that, and like some items are like really powerful, like but anyway, like items of power like that remind me a lot about Control, and it's a really cool show. It came out like 2006. It was a miniseries. There's like only 3 episodes, and then the story was done.
I'll look into that.
Yeah, it's really cool, because if you liked Control, you'd probably like that. There's also a book series by Charles Stross, and it's called like The Laundry Archives or something like that. It is like about like a government agency, kind of like the one in Control, that the magic in this universe is like all mathematics based, like Turing. What was
I don't want to live in that universe.
Like all this magic and stuff is fucking use like fucking computers and all this other shit to mathematically make magic happen, and like they're in charge of fighting like Lovecraftian horrors and shit like that. But that it's very similar. Control's really similar to that too. But like I've been enjoying it a lot. Because what's the studio that makes Control?
Remedy.
Remedy. I've liked all their other games. I liked Alan Wake. A lot of people hated Quantum Dream, but I enjoyed it. But
Quantum Break,
not Quantum Dream. That's a fucking different studio. God damn it.
Quantic Dreams is a developer.
Yeah.
So real quick, because I want to touch on this before we move too far away from it. You mentioned Alan Wake, and I never played Alan Wake.
Did you not? I thought we all played that.
Never played Alan Wake, and it sucks because I don't even think you can get it digitally anymore. Like, I think they removed it, or there was some weird licensing thing. But anyway, so one of the Easter eggs in Control that you can find once you have Levitate and you access the Panopticon, if you go to the archive level, which I think is the 4th level.
Yeah, I went in there and there was a fucking otherworldly being thing that fucking rolls around and kills your ass. So I wasn't in there for that long.
Yeah, I talk about the black orbs that just have rocks going around them. Yeah, so you can't beat those.
Yeah, I know. I have to you gotta run away.
But no, alright, so if you're facing like the main entry to the archives, not like the door leading in, but like the walkway right before the blast doors that open in the Panopticon, if you float up and go to the left, there's like a gap in the window, and if you go in, you know how the entire Panopticon is nothing. Have you've been to the Panopticon, right?
Yeah.
So it's all items of power that are locked behind glass, basically. One of the items of power you come across is a piece of paper that Alan Wake wrote. And
is there? Oh, was it behind glass?
Yes, but you can't get to it from the normal walkways. You have to float over in a window into it. It's barred off.
Oh, but that's why I did, because I thought I explored that area pretty well, but I didn't notice.
I can tell you right now that no matter how thoroughly you think you explore this building, you're always going to come back and be like, holy shit, how did I miss that? But no, so you know how like whenever the director speaks to you, you get like that weird ethereal blue version of him on screen?
Yeah.
And yeah, that happened. You see Alan Wake.
Huh.
So it pops up and he talks about how like writing these pages, brought them to life and all this stuff. And, yeah, I thought that was really cool.
That is super cool because you find those pages all over the place and like,
yep.
And in Alan Wake, as you're playing, like you're also reading the fucking Alan Wake is a really cool game. If there's ever a way for you to play it, you definitely should.
Well, Control has become one of my favorite games of this generation, mainly because it is, and this is going to lead into what I wanted to talk about before, one of the inspirations for this game was SCP. Now, I've talked about SCP in the group chat before. I don't know if you know what this is yet.
No. I've heard people compare it to the Southern Surge trilogy. It's a book, Annihilation.
I have no idea what in the hell that is, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you about this real quick. This is going to be a lot to unpack. So, SCP stands for Secure, Contain, Protect. And what it is a wiki/website that contains a bunch of short stories that are all written by different people that have a paranormal or a supernatural or a horror element to them. And they all have an SCP number designation, and they're all considered files in the archive, basically, of the SCP organization that basically tracks all of these. And some of them are written really poorly, and like you just kind of write them off, but some of the SCP stories are some of the legitimately best horror writing I have ever seen in my life. I'll link you to some of them afterwards.
Okay.
But they did an interview and Remedy said that SCP was a direct, they took a lot from the Bureau of Control for this. And there's a YouTube channel I watch called The Exploring Series, and he's covered a lot of the more important SCPs. And when you start getting into SCP and learning about all these new organizations and you look at Control, you're like, holy shit, this is an SCP video game.
Huh.
Because it all talks about alternate dimensions and gods that exist outside of our own. One of my favorite SCPs is about a cave that is found just outside of, I think, Iowa, And when you go inside, you go through the cave and you come out the other end, and you are in a mirror version of our reality where every living thing is dead, and you have no idea why. Even the grass is dying. And the whole story is presented in the form of exploration logs from the SCP groups that get sent out to explore it, and they find the dead versions of themselves explaining what happened to their group as they're going through it. And it's so fucking trippy. And some of these stories, like, I read them years ago, and like, even now, like, I have legitimate nightmares about some of these. That's how good these are.
I'll have to take a look at them. Seems like something I'd enjoy quite a bit.
But yeah, I am all for more SCP getting into video games. A great way to describe it, you remember Spooky's House of Jump Scares?
Yeah.
That's kind of like SCP, how you would come across the files for these creatures, which, by the way, you remember the Deer God?
Yeah.
In Spooky? That is a direct relation to the Deer God SCP. Oh, it's so good. I fucking love talking about SCP, and nobody else I know is into it.
I've never heard of it. It's just a Wikipedia thing?
I will give you a crash course in it. Just don't worry about it. I'll talk to you about it later.
Okay.
Anyway. Yeah, Control, great shit. I was going to talk about Ace Combat because I thought you beat it.
I did like GameFly and got it for like a week or two. And
I got it on Amazon for like $12 in December.
So and I played like the first couple levels, but I mean, I liked it. Music is really rad. I mean, I definitely see why you like that series.
Yeah, I would highly recommend, if you can find it on sale dirt cheap, pick it up and play through it some more. I'm like 13 missions in. I think there are 20 of them. And it's definitely Ace Combat. The writing is cheesy as shit.
Oh, yeah.
it's really fun to play. Anyway, we talked about movies. Oh, the Yakuza collection comes out soon.
Yeah, it does. I've had that shit pre-ordered for months.
Same.
That'll be Yakuza 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, very excited for that.
On the PS4, re-release for the PS4. Probably remastered somehow. But
let's see.
I'm super stoked for that.
You said you didn't watch the Black Widow trailer.
No, I didn't. I don't know if I've mentioned, but I've hardcore fallen out of superhero shit. Like, if it seemed like almost when as soon as Endgame happened and it capped off that entire saga, my like superhero interest, even when it comes to comics, pretty much dried up, except for like a couple things here and there. There's like I'm still reading Marvel's Runaways, but and I just finished Injustice 2, the comics for that, but like my superhero interest is pretty much just dried up. I don't know if it's because part of it was probably Endgame, find like an end of a 10-year saga or whatever, but I don't know. It's been like all manga for me as far as comics go. And indie comics too. Some American indie comics.
I don't really read comics, and I haven't been keeping up with the Marvel films. I mean, because there really aren't any right now.
Yeah, none's come out except for like Spider-Man.
I haven't really been keeping up with it as much as I did toward the wrapping up of the first phase of movies and stuff. But I did watch the Black Widow trailer, and I thought it was interesting that they're introducing Taskmaster as the villain for this.
Taskmaster's in there with the fucking mask and everything?
Yeah, he's the villain in this.
Taskmaster.
And they also introduce the Russian Captain America, Red Justice, is that his name? I can't remember, but he's being played by the sheriff from Stranger Things, David.
Oh, the dude who plays
David Harbour. David Harbour.
Fuck it, Red Scare? Is that his name?
Red. I don't fucking know. I don't really care. But anyway, yeah, they're introducing Taskmaster, and they're saying that that's going to set up the pieces for possibly Eternals, because we know who they've already cast Eternals, and they're saying that that's going to be the first like serious science fiction sort of Marvel film.
I'm sure I'll watch them, but like I don't know, haven't been really following it, you know.
Well, there's a little bit more I'm gonna get into. So, they did confirm that the next Doctor Strange, originally it was supposed to be like the first horror film in the MCU universe. It was going to be like cosmic horror, and I was like, totally down for that. Like,
I'm in.
Yeah, and then they're like, no, we're going to dial it back. And I'm like,
God
fucking,
damn it, Disney. Fucking
right?
have some balls. Fucking...
Sony put out the trailer for Morbius, which I remember seeing Morbius when I was a kid, and like after I saw this trailer, I had to look it up, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. In the comics, he's just a vampire man. But in like Spider-Man the Animated Series from the 90s, he had fucking hand suckers, like hand teeth that fucking he grabbed you and fucking sucked your blood through his hands. And that's way worse. That's way worse than fucking a man.
He doesn't have hand suckers in the trailer.
Yeah,
thank God,
that was the only time he had them. Was in that cartoon.
He's being played by Jared Leto, and I don't need that.
I know.
But let me fucking finish what I'm saying. I could care less about the Morbius film. I don't give a fuck about Jared Leto being a vampire at all. But there are two things in this movie that make it interesting for me. One, it's the first film to officially connect the Sony and Marvel universes.
Oh, yeah, I had heard about that.
Yeah, there's a shot in the trailer when he walks past like a brick wall, and they have like a poster of Spider-Man up, and it says criminal.
Yeah.
And that means it takes place after Far From Home. So the other thing that is interesting about this, and this is pure speculation right now, but in the trailer, he's talking with another doctor scientist, because in this, he's another genius scientist who gets superpowers. Like, for once, can we just have like a pizza boy get superpowers? Like someone that doesn't have $1 billion fucking dollars and access to genetic research. But he's talking with another scientist, and I'm blanking on the actor's name. I know he was in Chernobyl and he was in Mad Men, and I've seen him in other stuff, but they're saying that he may be the MCU version of Doc Ock.
Huh.
And that's super interesting to me, because I love Doc Ock as a character.
Doc Ock is great.
This is all speculation, but I thought that was interesting from the trailer. Other than that, I could not give a fuck less about Morbius.
Well, Morbius does bring up something interesting, though.
Okay.
If Marvel and Sony have if Morbius is going to be canon to the MCU, you know what else is going to be canon to the MCU by extension?
They already confirmed that Venom is going to be. So.
That goofy-ass movie. I'm really happy that shit's going to be canon.
Yeah, we already knew that was happening.
Oh, man. That's really funny.
The last thing I want to talk about in terms of like Marvel comics, because we're going to talk about Watchmen, which is not Marvel. They put out leaked set pictures from the Winter Soldier and the TV show that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? The Hawk or something? And Winter Soldier?
Hawk and Dove? No, wait, that's DC. Never mind.
What the fuck ever. Anyway, the it's going to be Falcon.
Falcon. Yeah. You said Hawk, and I was like, oh, Hawk and Dove. Oh, wait, no, wrong fucking
I don't fucking care. But anyway, it's going to be, Falcon and Winter Soldier's Disney Plus TV show. They put out set pictures for it, which I could not care less about. But this is what's interesting. In one of the set pictures, you can see the logo for the country of Madripoor. Oh. And that, do you remember? This is the first connection of the X-Men to the Marvel universe. So a lot of people are saying that they might sneak something into New Mutants, and then Disney shot that down. They're like, no, this is going to be the last film in the Fox X-Men series. So the Madripoor logo in this is the first solid connection we have with those universes.
Oh, man. Fucking, I hope one day we get to a House of M movie. That would be so sick.
I hope one day that Hugh Jackman just comes back as Wolverine. Because I, for the life of me, cannot see anyone else playing him.
I can't either, but because fucking Logan was so good.
Yeah, it really was.
So good.
So, moving off of comic books, let's talk about Watchmen.
I'm sorry, you mean the fucking best show of the year? That
best show of last year.
Last year. I said the year. Didn't say this year.
Get your shit together. Get your house in order.
Still accurate. God, that shit was so good.
It is further evidence that Jeremy Irons is the greatest white living actor ever. He has always been my quote white Morgan Freeman, because Morgan Freeman is Morgan Freeman, but goddamn, I love Jeremy Irons. Like, this whole show from beginning to end was just weird and really well done. Like, excellent. And I love the fact that Damon Lindelof is like, I'm not coming back for a second season. And HBO was like, okay, we're done. No more.
Yeah. I would be perfectly okay if like this is the only season. I'd love to get more, but I'd also
it is.
Be okay.
They confirmed it a week ago. No more. It's done. So.
All right, that is okay. I would rather, as much as I'd like to see more, I would much rather this series be a perfect one season than it keep going and get shittier. Like,
yeah,
I am perfectly okay with that.
I would really recommend you watch The Leftovers if you enjoyed Watchmen and you like Lindelof stuff. Caleb got me to watch Leftovers, and that show, Jesus Christ, it is like, I think 2 or 3 seasons of just constant emotional machine gunning. Like, it's so good. Yeah, you should definitely watch that. But Watchmen was phenomenal. Like, yeah. The casting was great. I like the tweaks on the story.
Yep, I like that it was a sequel to the comic. They made it very clear that this is not a sequel to the movie, because they're like interdimensional squid, and everyone's like, oh shit, it's not the movie.
Yeah, the minute they were going through, they had like the squid rain.
Mm-hmm.
In that, I was like, okay, I like where this is going.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Watchmen film. I know people knock on it, but I think that, first of all, I will give Zack Snyder credit for trying to adapt a graphic novel like that into a film and making it like cohesive for the most part.
Yeah, I like it too. People shit on that movie.
Fuck people. I love that movie. But, yeah, the casting in this TV show was so good.
Looking Glass.
Yeah.
Or fucking
every time I
fucking
saw
him. Every time he came on, I was like, oh yeah.
His specific episode is probably my favorite one of the whole series.
Yeah.
I know that everyone talks about like the one with Manhattan and the bar and
God Walks Into a Bar. That's the name of that episode.
Yeah, and then Sister Night's episode where she's like trapped in her head. That was a great fucking episode.
It was so good.
But I loved Looking Glass's one because, like, you felt so bad for him. Dude's, like, getting ready to get a blowjob in the middle of a house of mirrors, gets his clothes on, walks outside, squidpocalypse.
Why am I crying under this mask?
Oh, my God. Damn it. I don't know what to say about this show other than it was great.
Yeah.
Like, there was no bad episode.
There was no fat. Everything was trimmed up nicely. Like,
it was a great homage, and it also did a great job of, if you've never read the comics or seen the film at all and had no idea what was going on.
Fine. You don't got to enjoy the movie. Or enjoy the show, rather. Like, fucking, it gives you everything you need.
I love the alternate history of Hooded Justice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was fucking great. And the idea that he was either, like, bisexual or homosexual, like, you could never really tell. I love that was in there. Just, goddamn, everything about it was great.
Yeah, no, that shit was a masterpiece.
It helped cleanse some of the palate of the end of Game of Thrones from HBO for me. You know? Sitting there with that stank on my mouth for a few months, and then Watchmen comes along. It's like, hold on, here's a nice piece of sirloin for you. You know? Oh man. Speaking of things that were really good, you know what else is really good, Zach?
Tell me.
The Imagineering story on Disney Plus.
If you say so, I don't have Disney Plus.
It's really good. You should get it. I don't know what to say about it.
Okay.
Imagineering story just basically chronicles the history of the Disney parks and Imagineering and like creating the rides and all that.
That's right. So, that's what they call their people who build like design the rides and shit. Okay.
It was super fucking fascinating.
Cool.
But you know what else was really good, Zach? Good Will Hunting.
It's in the name.
It is in the name. So you are the one that picked this movie. You go ahead and talk about it.
fucking, what are you gonna make me do a recap? You know I'm bad at recaps.
Get the fuck over it. We've done like 15 of these, for Christ's sake.
I'm just bad at describing things. Good Will Hunting.
It's about a man who travels from college to college, fixing things that went wrong,
like plumbing,
hoping next time that each math problem will take him home. There we go.
But yeah, it's about Matt Damon. He's plays Will Hunting. He's like this fucking. He's a genius. He can out math, out fucking smarts everybody. It gets kind of he'll at this, is it a, I don't remember what kind of like college it was. Was it just general university, or was it like a mathematics college?
Fucking Harvard.
Was it Harvard? Fuck, I don't remember.
Yeah, MIT and Harvard.
But yeah, he's like a janitor. He just works these shit.
He's a janitor at MIT. That's where they're doing the math.
And
then I think his girlfriend goes to Harvard.
Oh, okay. But yeah, like they're like, yeah, the professor's like, all right, I'm gonna put this stupid, difficult math equation on this chalkboard. Somebody, everyone can take a crack at it. Here it is in the hall, and he would just go over there and like, oh, okay, the answer's this. I'm just gonna go and write it down.
I'm really gonna have to work with you on describing.
I'm fucking
films.
Bad at it. Just describe it yourself.
Can you just practice?
No.
Can you do that?
No, because.
Can you just get a mirror and talk to yourself for a little bit?
Oh God, fuck that. No, I'm just bad at describing.
You're like
things.
those cheap African knockoff movie posters that are hand painted.
Ugh, fucking dinosaurs.
Okay. I mean, look, he basically got the gist of it right. It is about a janitor who apparently learned everything from the fucking library, which is the best thing ever about this movie. Like,
just go to the library, read a book.
Oh man, I love that scene in the fucking bar in the beginning. He's like, how do you feel like you're going to get out of this owing $120,000 when you could have just had $1.35 in late fees from the library? But, yeah, Matt Damon plays Will Hunting, like you said, is a janitor at MIT who has an extreme aptitude for solving math problems and also memorizing history.
He just memorizes fucking everything.
Yeah, that's kind of what's implied when he's there. He's sitting there talking with his girlfriend, and she's like, do you have a photographic memory? And he doesn't answer the question, and I like that, because it's like, does he have natural genius, or does he just have an eidetic memory? So, that was kind of cool. But yeah, the movie was fucking great. This is a movie that somehow I have never seen.
Yeah.
I made it a point in like the mid to late 90s to just start going through as many popular films as I could, and somehow I missed this, even though it includes Robin Williams, who, as expected, killed it in this movie. It just was amazing.
When this movie came out, it got memed into the ground. Like, there were so many things that fucking made reference to it. Time for a little goodwill. Hunting. Like,
yeah, I mean, Kevin Smith and Scott Mosier were executive producers on this movie. And then they made fun of it in Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah.
So,
but like, and I just somehow never fucking saw it. But God, it was fucking great ass movie. I want to know how hard Matt Damon had to like how often he had to like rehearse the lines. Just those long run-on sentences of information he is just spewing out. I want to know how many takes it took. Like, I want to know his process of memorizing that shit for that role. Because holy shit.
I really enjoyed this movie. I was going into this expecting, another 90s sort of feel-good film for the most part. And I figured I would like it, but I ended up enjoying it a lot more than I gave it credit for originally. I will say that the accents are absolutely terrible. Jesus Christ.
You see the Boston accent?
They went down to the harbor.
The harbor.
Go down. It's wicked great. It was so hard. So I will at least give Ben Affleck credit for maintaining or trying to maintain the accent throughout the whole film. Matt Damon, on the other hand, just gave up. Like, in the beginning of the movie, he has the accent. And then for like 60 minutes of the film, it's just Matt Damon talking. And then it's like at the very end, he's like, fuck, this takes place in New England. I had an accent at the beginning of filming and just brought it back for a little bit. But, oh my God. Casey Affleck, Matt Ben Affleck's brother in this movie. Also, I will give credit for trying to maintain the accent. So, but yeah, just I could definitely see why this movie won all of the accolades that it did.
Yeah.
It was directed by Gus Van Sant, who also did Milk, which was a really fascinating movie. I can't really think of any other films. He did the remake of Psycho in the 90s. You might know that.
I think I saw that.
But yeah, for the most part, like, Gus Van Sant, I would almost consider like an independent director. And I mean, he clearly knocked it out of the park with his like one big endeavor that I know of. Mm-hmm. I guess you can count Psycho as a big endeavor, but that didn't do too well. But yeah, so the story of this is Matt Damon plays a janitor. Stellan Skarsgård plays a mathematician professor at MIT who won the Fields Medal, which is like the Nobel Prize for mathematics. I think they said it's given out every 4 or 5 years. Mm-hmm. And he's basically giving a lecture in class saying, like, you know, you're going to be the world's great mathematicians. Well, I invite you all to try and solve this problem I put out on the board. And it's a problem that he and the other mathematicians at MIT, I guess, collaborated on. And they put it on the board. And then there's the iconic scene of the movie of Matt Damon, you know, in his janitor outfit, just standing there and solving the problem. Mm-hmm. And nobody knows who solved it. And there's this scene of, like, they put up another problem to be like, well, whoever did this, we invite you to try and do this next one. It's even harder. And the Stellan Skarsgård walks out of his class and, like, sees Matt Damon down the hall solving this problem and, like, chases after him. And Matt Damon, like, runs away. Like, what wicked fuck yo! Just, like, runs away. And there's this side story of Matt Damon being arrested and, like, potentially going to jail. But in order to not go to jail, he has to go to therapy sessions once a week, and he has to do, like, I don't want to call them math classes, but that's almost what they are with Stellan Skarsgård's character. And Matt Damon, there's this scene of, like, him going through and, like, fucking with all the other psychologists or therapists because he doesn't want to do it. Yeah. And yeah,
he just fucking makes all of them just walk out.
Yeah. And we introduce Robin Williams' character, who's another psychologist that Stellan Skarsgård character went to college with, because he's sort of the last option. And, you know, Matt Damon and Robin Williams, they have their session together and they butt heads at first, and over time they grow to respect each other, and he becomes like a father figure to him. And as was expected, Robin Williams was my favorite part of this movie.
Oh yeah,
like,
he was excellent.
He cannot be anything other than the best part of whatever film he's in.
Facts.
And
big facts.
Yeah, just this movie ran the typical, like, circle of heroes arc, which is you have conflict at the beginning, resolution, and then more conflict at the final third, and then the resolution at the end, basically. But it all worked out really well. It was a very, I don't want to say sweet, because I feel like that downplays it, but you do see Will grow emotionally as a character, which I really enjoyed. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is with him and Matt Damon when they were in the construction site at the very end. Like, Matt Damon's, like, talking to him, you know, like, I don't want to do this shit. This is good, honest work. And he's thinking that, like, Matt Damon's going to, or not Matt Damon, he's thinking that Ben Affleck's going to agree with him. And he's just like, no, fuck you. Like, you have the means to get out of here.
Yeah, get the fuck out. Go do something with your life. You fucking,
yeah.
You're wicked smart.
Right? Like, he's like, you get the fuck out of here. He's like, do you know what my dream is? He's like, going to your house and, like, knocking on the door and you're not there. And I was like, that is great script writing, because it's obviously setting you up for a scene later in the movie, but it plays on how much he wants him to succeed as a friend. And I really like that, because they were friends in real life and you could tell that in the movie. Mm-hmm. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. Like, this whole movie in general, I would give it probably 7.5 out of 10.
I don't know. I think I'd probably bump it up to an 8. You know the one person in this movie who was, like, super underwhelming though for me.
Who?
Yeah, Skarsgård's fucking assistant who's like with him. He was just kind of there. He had like one line here, one line there. You know the guy?
I really thought that was gonna like turn and he was gonna like try and report Matt Damon to the cops and
because
stuff like that.
There's that one scene where it's like Matt Damon. I can't remember what he does, but
they're doing a math problem. Like he puts his arm around him. Is that the one you're talking about?
It was something that looked like it was gonna set up for the assistant character to like fucking go behind his back and like try to sabotage him or something, like add some conflict there. Like it looked like it was set up to do that and it just didn't. And that character was just there, like his delivery was kind of flat. I don't know, I didn't see the point of him personally.
Yeah, there was a scene early in the movie where it's Matt Damon and Stellan Skarsgård's character. They're sitting in a chair and like they're solving a math problem. And like Matt Damon like goes up and they're like changing stuff on the board, and it's funny. You get this almost like Top Gun bro moment high five, but they're doing math problems.
Mm-hmm.
So like in my head, I'm hearing "Playing with the Boys" by Kenny Loggins as they're doing math problems. But like they sit down and like Stellan Skarsgård like puts his arm around it, like they're having this moment together. And you see his assistant in the back, like, look over, and there's, like, a pan shot and a zoom in on him. And I'm like, oh, there's going to be some conflict here. And then an hour and a half later, I'm like, oh, there was no conflict here.
Yeah, so that was just a thread that just went nowhere. But that's probably my only real complaint.
I'm torn on the ending. And let me just say this. I love the ending. But I don't know if I would have liked to have seen Will and his girlfriend like meet up again.
It would have been nice to see her again. Like you see her, like the last time you see her is when he's talking on the phone with her, and that's the last time you actually see her.
Yeah, and he fucking just wrecks her emotionally.
Yeah.
Like that was a brutal scene to watch. Which, by the way, you're in a college dorm. Nobody's like coming over to check on this person. He's screaming and hitting the wall.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I would have liked to have seen her again and like have that meetup. Sort of like the way I imagined it was like the end of Shawshank, where Andy meets up with Red and like you see them on the beach, but you don't hear them talk. It's just they go up and they embrace, and there's the pull out of the camera and then the fade. And I'm like, that would have worked. But then there's a part of me that likes the idea that it's just him driving, and it's the beginning of his quest. He had to go see someone about a girl.
Yep.
You know. And it's just... Also, I need to throw out a nod to Robin Williams, because one of my favorite lines of this movie is at the very end when he's packing up and Stellan Skarsgård's character comes in and he's talking to him. And he's like, I think I'm going to travel a little bit, get out and see the world. Like, he's starting to come to terms with losing his wife, and he's going to go out there and explore things. And Stellan Skarsgård's like, so where are you going to go? He's like, oh, well, I think I'm going to India, China, Baltimore. And I'm like, there you go. Do it. But, yeah, just great. It is great script writing, which, by the way, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck wrote this. Mm-hmm. It's their first thing they ever wrote.
I didn't know it was their first. I knew it was, like, super earlier in their careers, but...
Yeah, they had they pulled a lot of favors to get this made, and I'm trying to remember, he had one of his like teachers go over and do like proofreading of the script for him. Huh. Like he had a lot of advantages when making this, but it doesn't change the fact that it was a great first run. Yeah, so thoroughly enjoyed the movie. Anything else you really want to say about it? Because I feel like I'm just talking up a storm.
No. I mean, I think we said everything everything I had in mind.
Yeah, I'm going back through the list here. Let's see. 98, 92.
Which one came out? Did this or Mallrats come out first? Because
I think Mallrats probably came out first. Let me check.
Because Kevin Smith...
Yeah, Mallrats was 95. This was 97.
Okay, so he had a little bit of... So Affleck had that rapport with Kevin Smith.
Yeah, chocolate-covered pretzels and such.
Yeah, of course.
But this and Chasing Amy came out in the same year.
Oh.
So, And then the year after this, he did Saving Private Ryan and Rounders, and then he did Dogma, and then he did The Talented Mr. Ripley, and then he did The Legend of Bagger Vance and Finding Forrester. Then he did Jay and Silent Bob and Ocean's 11 and The Majestic. It's just Born Identity was 2002, which I love the first Born Identity.
I like the first one, but man, are all the other Bourne movies the exact same movie.
Yeah, it's interesting to see like his progression. Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah, great movie. I would definitely recommend it, and clearly Zach does too. But that leads into the very complicated question of what our next movie is.
I have given you so many options, so
yes,
what have you settled on?
I'm just gonna talk for a minute real quick.
You go for it.
So when Zach first picked this film, the first thing that popped in my mind was, holy fuck, how on earth am I gonna how am I gonna pick a movie for this? Because I can pick from Stellan Skarsgård, I can pick from Casey Affleck, I can pick from Matt Damon, I can pick from Robin Williams. Like, it opens up almost too many options. And I'm just gonna tell you the 3 films that I narrowed it down to.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you 3 films that I almost went with, and then the one that I narrowed it down.
Oh, I might still watch those if I hadn't seen them before.
So the first one I really wanted, I considered, was A Ghost Story with Casey Affleck.
I don't think I've seen that.
Came out in 2017, and he plays a ghost.
Oh.
Like, it's a sheet with the holes cut out, and he's a ghost.
Oh.
And it's him, like, I think it's about him, like, dealing with what happens to his family, like, after he passes away or something. But that's still on my list. I might find a way to work back into that one. Anyway, so yeah, Ghost Story was one of them. I almost went with Dogma because like I haven't seen it in so long, and I was like, oh, that's so tempting to like just watch Dogma. But we've both seen it. I don't know how great it would be to discuss it, so I didn't go with that.
Rubber poop monster.
So the one that I came very close to picking was What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams.
I don't think I've seen that either.
Maybe we'll do 2 films for this, but you just pick an actor from one. So here's the thing. What Dreams May Come is a deeply personal movie for me because it, without giving too much away, it deals with what happens when someone close to you commits suicide. And it's a very personal interpretation of the afterlife, both heaven and hell.
Sounds heavy.
It's incredibly heavy. It is like watching this movie and then knowing what happens with Robin Williams. I haven't watched it since he passed away. But that movie, I saw it when I was a little younger, but it influenced what my interpretation of the afterlife is. Like, that's how deeply personal this movie is to me. I won't say it's a perfect film. It is incredibly beautiful, emotionally and cinematically. Like, very few movies use color the way this movie does. It would probably be the most heavy film we'll watch on here, but I'm tempted to still put it out there. But the movie I wound up picking is a movie I've wanted you to watch for years, and I don't know if you ever did, but it's called Boiler Room with Ben Affleck.
No, I've never seen it. I know you've talked about it ad nauseum, and it's suggested to me multiple times, but no, I've never seen it.
Yeah, Boiler Room is another movie that I watched on a whim one day. I think this was on Netflix, and loved it. I loved it so much I bought it the very next day. It is not the perfect film. The acting in this movie is very campy at points, but it Did you ever see Wolf of Wall Street?
Yes.
Okay, so the book that's based off of, Boiler Room is based off of it too. It just came out like 15 years earlier.
I love the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, it is very early 2000s, like early to mid 2000s. You can tell that from the soundtrack with this movie. But I really enjoyed it. It almost, have you seen Hackers? Not Hackers.
You know I've seen Hackers.
Have you seen Antitrust?
No.
Okay, well, I'm going to find a way to work that into this goddamn podcast too. But Yeah, I think you'll really like Boiler Room, but that's going to be our next movie. Maybe we'll do Boiler Room and What Dreams May Come. You know, maybe I'll watch that movie again. I don't know. But
Okay.
Boiler Room is definitely what's going to be on the screenshot for whatever the next one's recorded. But yeah, anyway, guess we'll go ahead and end this here. You know.
Cool.
All right. Well, Zach, why don't you go ahead and do your thing?
Say goodbye to all the people. Goodbye, people.
All right, and I'll go ahead and say goodbye to the people also, which is going to sound like this. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Gotta say it like Daniel Plainview.
Here. All right. Well, I guess we're goodbye men.
We're goodbye men. If you were to say we're goodbye men, I'd say I'd agree. Later.